I will race anything, and Furball racing absolutely shows that I do. I bought this game on day one on Steam and I have zero regrets, and I'm here to tell you that you should be looking at buying it too, particularly if you'll race any old thing. This game reminds me so heavily of like the N64, Sega Saturn, early PS2 era of gaming, where everything was huge chunky polygons and everything was colourful, bright, in your face, happy. What a life we had back then. I wish everything was less dreary these days. And it harks back to that golden arcade era for me. You've got one of 16 animals that you can choose, and they're rolled up into furballs, and they handle quite similar to like a marble in a marble racing game. Not quite a Super Monkey Ball, but not too far off. Much more Arcadian, I would say. But each of the animals has its own individual class and like not personality traits, but handling traits. Some of them are faster on acceleration or top speed versus cornering. Some of them are affected by gravity differently depending on if they're in the small, medium or fat class. Like if you've got the cow, they will fly around a lot slower than the smaller tiny ones that are much more nippy, a little bit like a yappy terrier. And then the other thing you've got as well is like a boost system, which allows you to spin drift around corners or bounce off of walls, or like just boost yourself forward. And this is all really, really helpful to keep your momentum up faster and faster and faster where possible. You can also fling poo at each other. Oh yes. And that stops people from being able to progress and cause them issues as well. And whilst very early in races there is a lot of slinging of poop around, that does get less of a issue the further you get into a race, because the field gets spread out. The game itself has 16 different tracks, loads of different variety. Some of them are just one giant single lap. Some of them are very tight and twisty and have like 10 or 12 laps for you to get round. And you've got this standard kind of championship mode that you can play through, which is what you're mostly seeing on the screen in this gameplay. And playing the different cup modes or championship modes allows you to unlock all of the different characters and also get to experience all of the tracks before you then take it into up to 4-player in local split screen mode. Everything handles fine, there's no slowdown, it's really fast and furious, and I'm really pleased that the game's able to handle itself when you're going into split screen mode, because quite often some of these indie games for racing start to chug a little bit, and I didn't have that with Furballs Racing, which is great. Instead what we had was lots and lots of fun and laughs, and that's really the big main takeaway from Furballs Racing. It's such a joyous, stupid and ridiculous game and environment for you to play in that yeah, you just have fun with it. Some of the courses are a little bit harsh and extreme, particularly ones where you've got to like wall jump or avoid tornadoes, or you've got to bounce on multiple bounce pads that are a bit woolly for you to be able to control yourselves on. The other thing I'd say as well is that sometimes the poop mechanic does get in the way slightly with where you respawn back. So occasionally you might get hit by some flying poo when you're in the middle of a like multiple wall jump or multiple bounce pad or something, and the respawn takes quite a while for it to kind of trigger through, so you do lose sometimes proportionally way more time than other times when you get hit by the doo-doo. But I wouldn't necessarily say that that's a terrible bad thing, it's just you use that as part of your tactics to try and get through and win things. The only thing that I haven't done with this game is to test its online multiplayer capability. It is there, it's available for people to use. Obviously this game is a very niche one, so it's not going to have absolutely crammed multiplayer lobbies at all times, so you'll need to organise it accordingly. But that, alongside with time trial mode to beat other like ghosts and so on and so forth from the staff that have been left behind, there's plenty to offer here, and it's only for just over £6.50. There are games that are more than double this price that offer half the content and way less than half the fun. So this goes firmly into my recommendations. This is definitely one of those that you want to crack out the controllers for a local multiplayer bash, because you will be raging, you will be shouting at each other, but you will be laughing your heads off all at the same time too. Stupid, stupid fun. Pick it up now. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/HigherPlaneNetwork. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.